Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the fun side of the internet. If you're already part of the crew, you know what to do. Smash that like button and hit subscribe to join us for even more crazy and insightful content. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on what we've got in store today. Alright, let's dive into it. You know, life as a football fan is full of surprises. One minute you're celebrating a win. The next minute your quarterback is benched and your whole world feels upside down. And today, we're talking about Kirk Cousins. The man, the myth, the legend, who got benched by the Atlanta Falcons after just 14 games into a major contract. I mean, what? That's like signing up for a roller coaster and getting kicked off after the first loop. Now, let's break this down because it's a juicy one. Buckle up. 1. The shocking benching. What went down? Okay, let's set the scene. Kirk Cousins, a guy who was supposed to lead the Atlanta Falcons to greatness this season, just got hit with the ultimate plot twist. After being signed to a massive 4-year, $180 million deal, that's enough to buy a small island, the Falcons decided to bench him. And who did they replace him with? The rookie Michael Penix Jr., drafted 8th overall, straight out of the University of Washington. No pressure, right? Just, hey, kid, here's the keys to the kingdom. Go win us a Super Bowl. I know, you're probably thinking, wait, why did this happen? Let's unpack it. Despite Cousins' veteran status and experience, he had a rough patch. In his last 5 games, Cousins threw 9 interceptions and only 1 touchdown. That's about as fun as eating a whole pizza and realizing you've forgotten to order drinks. Not a good look. The Falcons' decision. They took a hard look at his performance. And it wasn't pretty. Coach Raheem Morris came to the conclusion that it was time for a change. They wanted someone who could reduce turnovers and lead the team more effectively. So, just like that, Penix was handed the ball. No more Kirk Cousins show. At least not this season. Yikes. 2. What does this mean for Kirk Cousins' future? Now that we've gotten the shocking twist out of the way, let's talk about what happens next for Kirk Cousins. Is he done? Are the Falcons waving the white flag? Well, not exactly. First off, Cousins is still under contract with $27.5 million guaranteed for 2025. That's a pretty sweet deal. But the Falcons will have to make some tough financial decisions. If they keep him around, they'll owe him that $27.5 million next year. If they let him go, they could be paying him for 2 seasons with no return. So what's a team to do? Well, in Cousins' case, the future is looking a little murky. He's got a no-trade clause, which gives him a lot of control over where he plays. So even if the Falcons want to get rid of him, they can't just trade him away like last season's Thanksgiving leftovers. Cousins holds the cards, and he knows it. That means Atlanta is really stuck between a rock and a hard place. Especially when it comes to whether they'll cut him or try to trade him. 3. The financials. The elephant in the room. Okay, let's talk money because let's be real. It's a big part of why Cousins is still a big deal in the NFL. Despite his struggles, Cousins is due $62.5 million for this year alone. $62.5 million. That's like winning the lottery but then spending it all on groceries. And now you're left with a big, fancy house but no food in the fridge. If the Falcons cut him, they'll still be on the hook for most of that contract. And that could really hurt their salary cap situation moving forward. On top of that, Cousins is guaranteed $27.5 million in 2025. But if they release him before March 2025, they'll owe him that plus a $10 million roster bonus. The Falcons are basically tied to Cousins financially unless they find a way to trade him. Which, as we've mentioned, isn't so easy when you have a no-trade clause. So, while the Falcons might want to move on from Cousins, they'll have to make sure they're not paying him to hang out and eat snacks on the couch. The financial situation isn't pretty. But hey, that's NFL business for you. 4. What's next for Kirk Cousins? Now, let's talk about what happens when the Cousins saga is over in Atlanta. Do you think he'll call it quits or find a new team? The market for quarterbacks is always hot, and there are plenty of teams looking for a seasoned vet like Cousins. Las Vegas, Tennessee, Jets, and Giants are all teams that could potentially use a guy like Cousins, even if he's had a rocky season. Here's the kicker. Kirk Cousins has been around long enough to know that the NFL is a roller coaster. One season, you're an MVP contender. And the next, you're bench warming, but don't count him out just yet. His 4 Pro Bowl selections and previous solid seasons prove he's still got it. So, if Cousins ends up somewhere else, look for him to be a potential bridge QB for a team grooming their future starter. 5. A reunion with the Vikings? Speaking of future teams, could Kirk Cousins head back to his old stomping grounds in Minnesota? That would be one heck of a storyline, wouldn't it? Imagine Cousins reuniting with the Vikings, just 1 year after leaving, and helping them make a playoff push. It's not the most likely scenario, but don't rule it out. The Vikings' current QB situation isn't exactly stable, and there's a possibility they could bring Cousins back in. 6. Will he keep playing at 37? Let's be honest, Cousins is 36, and this season has been tough. But Kirk Cousins is a guy who plays with heart. If he decides to keep going, his next move will be crucial. He might not be the top QB on everyone's list, but for a team needing a short-term answer, Cousins could be a solid option. After all, he knows how to win games, and there's plenty of football left in him, if the right team gets behind him. Conclusion. So, what does this all mean? Kirk Cousins is definitely in a tough spot right now, but he's not done yet. Whether he stays with the Falcons or moves on to a new team, one thing's for sure, he's still got plenty of football in him. So, what do you think? Do you think Cousins has one last chapter left to write? Or is it time for him to hang up the cleats? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Alright, guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the Kirk Cousins saga. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. It's the best way to show your support and help the channel grow. You can always count on me to bring you the hottest sports news with a side of humor. So stay tuned for more. Catch you in the next one. Peace. Alright, guys, welcome back to the channel. We've got some big, huge news coming out of Atlanta, and no, it's not just the fact that they serve peach cobbler at their games, though. Let's be honest, that's a solid reason to visit. We're talking about the Falcons' quarterback situation. And oh boy, it's drama central right now. Buckle up, because the Falcons have made a decision, and it might surprise you. You know how the Falcons like to keep us all on the edge of our seats. But this time they've really raised the stakes. So, drumroll please, the Falcons have officially named rookie Michael Penix Jr. as their starting quarterback, replacing veteran Kirk Cousins. And listen, if that doesn't make you sit up and say, wait, what? Then I don't know what will. In the span of just one day, the Falcons have gone from a "we're not sure yet" vibe to an all-out QB change that could change everything. Cousins, who was supposed to be their guy, is out, just like that. Snap, it's a new era in Atlanta. My friends, let's break this down. I'll tell you why this move is both bold and risky. And let's be honest, when it comes to the Falcons, bold is practically their middle name. The drama before the drama. It all started with an innocent press conference. Head coach Raheem Morris stood there looking all professional, trying to keep things calm and collected, but little did we know, behind that calm exterior was a storm of drama brewing. When asked about the quarterback situation, Morris had that "I have no idea what I'm doing" look. Right? We've all seen it before. Like when you're trying to pick a movie on Netflix and spend 45 minutes scrolling before giving up and watching reruns of Friends. Here's what he said earlier on Tuesday, right after the Falcons had just snuck by with a narrow win over the Raiders, a team with a record worse than my fantasy football team. Morris said, and I quote, "We just got back. Man, we've still got to go through all that process like we always do." Translation: yeah, we're gonna make a decision. Just not today, okay? Classic coach talk. But, plot twist, by the end of the day, Morris was like, surprise, we've made our call. Michael Penix Jr. will be the man. Cue dramatic music. And that's how we got here. Folks, 1 minute, Cousins is starting, the next minute, Penix is ready to take the reins and lead the team into the future. Or, you know, hopefully not into a dumpster fire. The case for Penix. Now, let's get into why this is such a big deal. Michael Penix Jr., the 8th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, has been the talk of the town ever since the Falcons decided to pick him. But, and here's the kicker, no one really expected this to happen so soon. I mean, Cousins has been the guy for most of the season. He was supposed to be the veteran leader. The guy who would guide the Falcons to the promised land, or at least to a playoff spot. Well, about that. Here's the deal with Cousins. He's been solid for the most part. But he's also been pretty meh lately. His stats? They're fine, but nothing to write home about. 18 touchdowns. Sure, but 16 interceptions? Ouch. Talk about playing with fire. And his mobility? Well, after tearing his Achilles last season, he's like the tortoise of the NFL, slow and steady. But also, a little bit sluggish. Not exactly the quarterback that inspires confidence. Especially when the Falcons' playoff hopes are hanging by a thread. But hey, that's where Penix comes in. The rookie has the tools. He has the arm, the accuracy, and, most importantly, the mobility. Remember how he led one of the most explosive offenses in college football at Washington? That's the kind of magic the Falcons are hoping he'll bring to the NFL. He's got the potential to be the future of the franchise. But can he handle the pressure? That's the million-dollar question. Kirk's bumpy ride. Now, don't get me wrong, Kirk Cousins had his moments. I mean, who could forget that thrilling 15-9 win against the Raiders? Where the offense looked like it was stuck in first gear the entire game. Yikes. The Falcons barely escaped with a win against a team that's been a literal dumpster fire all season long. One touchdown. That's it. Against the Raiders. You gotta wonder if Cousins' arm is just a little too stiff for the NFL game anymore. His accuracy was off. His mobility was non-existent. And when the Falcons need a miracle to make the playoffs, well, that's not really the kind of quarterback you want under center. So yeah, we're all sitting here thinking, okay, let's give Penix a shot. After all, he can't do much worse than a guy who's been throwing interceptions like it's his side hustle. Penix is young, he's hungry, and most importantly, he's healthy. If he can come in and inject some life into this offense, then maybe, just maybe, the Falcons have a shot at